And I'm going to pass the gavel to Ms. Baker.
Ms. Lopez? Are you ready for item number 13, AB 1366?
Yes.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I'm pleased to present to you AB 1366. This bill creates Dreamer Centers at California Community College and CUS and UC to serve undocumented students. California has the lead the way to create pathways for undocumented students to attend college wherever there is still unique challenges they're facing. And recent studies, UCLA undocumented students reporting being unfairly treated due to their legal status by the campus officials and their peers that also report state the need to save and trust. A space where the students have the ability to share their status without fear who they are and sharing with it. AB 1368 will create a safe and trusted space for undocumented students to receive up to the date information and new policies, available resources that offer their individual cases and the moral support that will allow them to focus on their studies. Here today with me, I have two witnesses in support who share this testimony.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Calanda. I'm from Cal State Channel Islands. I am an undocumented student myself. I think it is of huge importance to pass this bill, and it is very necessary to have Resource Center on our campuses. Recently, I had an experience as a first-year generation student coming into college. I came in with scholarships and with my DREAM Act application financial aid, and unfortunately, I was not able to continue to pay my education with that money for my second year coming in. I actually had to face living in the streets for 2 weeks trying to figure out what I had to do and where to get the money to be able to pursue my higher education and continue it. I was directed to many faculty and staff who were not able to help me because of the lack of resources that we have on our campus. So I think it is very important that we have a place where undocumented students can feel that they can come and ask for that help, and to make sure that the more undocumented students that we have coming into our campus, they have a place to go and they don't have to face challenges such as being homeless or not getting the correct information.
Hello, everyone. My name is David Gonzalez, and I attend Cal State University Northridge. And I am here representing the California Dream Network in support of AB 1366. My freshman year at California State at Tucson, I did not receive financial aid my first semester because of the lack of information. I did not know. I had to fill out a part of the DREAM Act, which passed in 2011, and I had to leave the dorms, and because I had run out of money, and I was in a similar situation as Eric Alenda, where I had to stay in a friend's couch, basically, and so I asked around, and after talking to 5 or 6 staff members, I finally figured out what was wrong with my application, and I was able to get financial aid. And that will no longer be a problem at CSUN, because now we have a resource center that offers the resources like scholarships, jobs, and help for financial aid. And more than that, it's a safe space where I was really scared coming straight from high school to the university. But now with the resource center and people there helping and being supportive, I feel that all institutions of higher education should have a resource center. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support, if you can state your name, who you're with, and whether you support or oppose support.
Hi, Pedro Trujillo with the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles and the California Dream Network. We're in strong support and here also to answer any technical questions around this legislation.
Thank you. Please use the mic. Thank you.
Joe Stanton on behalf of the Student Senate for California Community Colleges in support.
Janet Herrera Bucio, California Dream Network representative and also a student in Cal Poly Pomona. I strongly support this bill.
Mario Perez, from the California Dream Network at Cal State Los Angeles, in strong support.
Andrea York on behalf of FAC and the EOPS Association in support.
Gina De Silva with the California Immigrant Policy Center in support.
Victor Costa, Student Center for California Community Colleges in support.
Dr. Rhonda Rios-Kravitz, Dean Emeritus from Sacramento City College, former advisor to Dream Clubs, and now currently on the board of Alianza, a nonprofit group working for comprehensive immigration reform, and we strongly support this bill. Thank you.
Hi, Deborah McCart on behalf of the National Association of Social Workers. We strongly support this bill, but I would also like to add that I am a grad student at Sac State, and along my journey through school, I have met and worked with many students that will benefit from this act. And on an individual level, I support it as well. Thank you.
Hi, Rita Medina, also here on behalf of CheerLab, not only in strong support, but we are also strong co-sponsors as well.
Hi, Juana Guerra from the California Dream Network and Sacramento City College Dreamers in support.
Hello, my name is Daisy Caro, and I'm a member of the California Dream Network and also a student at Sacramento State in full support.
My name is Maria Perez, and for Chile, I support.
Hello, my name is Daniel Peñalosa. I am a statewide organizer for CHEER, the Coalition for Human Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles, and I strongly support.
Seeing no further comments in support, any in opposition? Second. We have a motion and a second. I turn it back to my colleagues. Any comments or questions from colleagues? Mr. Jones.
It might be a quick question. I know we're really supporting EOP programs, and I just want to know, how is this different, or can this be folded into the EOP, or ensure that as part of the EOP program we take care of the undocumented youth that come in? I'm looking at two programs. One, I believe we're really pushing hard to give money to, and if there is a way to coalesce the two so that we can help everyone, it may be a great thing. I'm just want to know.
Right. So there are, and thank you to EOPS for a lot of great work that has happened in the last few years to fill in that gap and assist undocumented students where the universities have not been doing that work to the full extent as they would be doing to other students who are paying the same amount of tuition. However, it's a very limited population in terms of who EOPS works with, and it doesn't encompass all undocumented students. In terms of where they're coming from and their background to even be under the program, it wasn't until recently where EOPS actually started working with undocumented students thanks to the California Dream Act, AB 130 and AB 131. However, a lot of undocumented students are falling through the cracks in the educational pipeline and actually are not being assisted because they're misclassified as international students or not even AB 540, and so they're not even able to access a lot of information. So these centers would actually be a centralized and known location on campus that would assist undocumented students, and they know that that's the safe space to go and receive assistance.
Seeing any other questions from colleagues?
Make a comment. Senator Lopez, I want to thank you for bringing this bill forward. As a Republican and one who's been strongly in support of immigration reform and support of the Dreamers, one of the strong reasons I support that effort is because our future society needs everybody being part of the solution. And even though we are opening up the doors and allowing people to have the opportunity to be educated, we need to make sure we can get them through that process. One of the largest discussions we have in a lot of the higher ed committees, especially in Sub 2, is the time it takes a student to get through college, 6 years, 8 years. So hopefully this program will shorten that time, allow students to get through the system in a faster fashion, and to go on to continue to be productive citizens of the society. So thank you for bringing this up. That's why I'm supporting it for all those different reasons, and look forward to seeing it go forward. Thank you.
Seeing no further comments, Ms. Lopez, would you like to close?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I asking you for your aye vote.
We have a motion and a second. This is do pass. Excuse me, was there a question?
I was just going to ask a question. I'm sorry I'm late. I was presenting a bill across the hall. We're all playing these multiple roles a day. But in development of this here proposal, you're developing Dream centers similar to the ones at UCLA and other places like that. Now, those campuses have funded their own. If we do this, does that mean we then start funding everybody's?
Yeah, actually, recently, today, the LA Times reported that there was a philanthropist who donated $1.6 million to Cal State Los Angeles Dream Center for it to be fully functional. However, with the resource centers, there's about 9 that we know of, resource centers established already across the UCs, CSUs, and community colleges. Most of these, or the majority, are in UCs, and they have been funded through seed money that came in through Janet Napolitano. And so we actually believe that these centers, that the state should actually invest in these centers so that they can invest in the students' future. And I think that the state should also be open, and the university should be open to private donors, philanthropists to come in and assist in the funding of these programs where available and where there's interest.
So do you have a price tag on this bill? Do you know approximately, since you're from the other centers that have been open, but it would be one established at every campus, is that correct? Or
yeah, that's the idea, so that students can have access to accurate information and be able to navigate their experience as education experience.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. We have a motion to pass to Appropriations Committee. Clerk will call the roll, please.
Medina, Baker.
No.
Baker, no. Bloom, Chavez. Aye. Chavez, aye. Harper.
No.
Harper, no. Irwin. Aye. Irwin, aye. Jones Sawyer. Aye. Jones Sawyer, aye. Levine. Levine, aye. Linder. Linder not voting. Lowe. Santiago. Weber. Aye. Weber, aye. Williams. Aye. Williams, aye.
6-2, we'll have it on call. Thank you, Ms. Lopez.
Thank you.
Ms. Weber, are you prepared to go on file item 1? Yes, I am. This is AB 340.
Madam Chair and members, today I'm here to present AB 340. This is a bill that deals with campus climate. As some of you are aware, over a year ago, the former Speaker, John Pettis, created something called the Assembly Select Committee on Campus Climate. And because of my 40-some-odd years at San Diego State University, he asked me if I would chair that particular select committee. That select committee, for those of you who weren't here at the time, resulted as a result of a number of incidents that occurred on campuses. Particularly that motivated it most was the incident that occurred in the fall of 2013, which was a case where an African-American student from San Jose State University was experiencing racial bullying in and on campus residential hall. The student was harassed by his suite mates, who wrapped a bicycle lock around his neck, subjected him to racial insults that included Nazi symbols and the presence of the Confederate flag. A select committee, and this went on for several months. The select committee met 4 times in 2014 throughout California and examined public safety protocols while exploring solutions to encourage healthier campus climates. We assume the responsibility that because the CSUs and the UCs are our institutions and they're institutions for preparing the future leaders of tomorrow, that we had a responsibility to make sure that our campus, that when parents sent their children to our campuses, that our campuses were safe, free from any level of discrimination and harassment that might exist. During that time, we discovered a number of incidents that had occurred on campuses, as well as the various differing kind of administrative structures. Many of them were not supportive of the issue of reporting racial incidents and handling the matters in an appropriate manner. As a result of that, we issued the final report in October of last year that provided some recommendations on improving and maintaining a healthy campus climate in our California higher ed institutions. AB 340 turns basically one of those recommendations into legislation. 340 requires the Board of Governors of the California Community Colleges and the trustees of CSU and encourages the regents of the University of California to generate a report once every biennium of the legislative session on new campus developments as it impacts gender, gender identity, race, ethnicity, national origin, religion, sexual orientation, and disability. AB 340 would also define campus climate as a measure of an individual's experience within a learning environment, specifically focusing on the current attitudes, practices, policies, and behaviors of campus life that impact the success and retention of all members of a campus community. The report will also include administrative efforts for campus climate, student demographic data, and campus crime statistics. The entire report would be posted on the segment's website. By requiring a report on recent developments on campus climate, the 3 segments of higher education would keep key policymakers informed about new and ongoing endeavors and developments in regards to campus climate. Here to speak today on behalf of AB 340 is Alice Huffman, who is the president of the California and Hawaii NAACP. Ms. Huffman.
Thank you, Member Weber. To the chair and members of the committee, thank you for this opportunity to be with you today. I know your time is tight, so I'll highlight my testimony that I sent out. But I'm here to support Dr. Weber's bill because I've kind of lived through a campus climate mechanism that was created over the University of California a few years back after the Compton cookout. And I wrote to the president of the university and asked, in the words of Marvin Gaye, what's going on? And he wrote me back and said, I'm trying to find out what's going on too. And he created a committee for inclusion, cultural, climate, environment, and inclusion, and put me on the committee. It was a marvelous thing to experience. He not only created it at the university level, the top level, but each campus had to create a similar committee and had to report to the top committee. And those of us on the committee visited each campus and talked to various groups of students about what was going on campus. It was very revealing to find that this day and age, there's so much racism and discrimination and discomfort on campus, years after we think we've integrated, and years after we think everything is okay. All the students mostly had serious problems, including the Jewish students. And so we, after we visited each segment and we reported back, there were still some problems with the Jewish students, so we created a subcommittee of myself and another gentleman to go on campus and meet with the Jewish students. It was very revealing because what you find on campus today is that there's a lot of hate dialogue going on. There's a lot of discomfort going on. There is still a lot of racism going on. I went to San Jose with the incident that Dr. Weber just reported on as the NAACP. And this stuff is still percolating. It's still creating barriers for students to feel comfortable on campus. The Jewish students feel like they are victims every year because there's a Jewish hate day. And you can't tell what's free speech and what's hate speech anymore. And so by having these committees to deal with these issues, it creates an environment on campus where students feel included. They feel like their issues are being considered. We know we can't fix many of the problems, but we know that if you pay attention, it's attitudinal, and it's establishing a value on campus that all students matter, that inclusion matters, and here's a vehicle for you to express your concerns, and hopefully somebody will pick it up, put it in the system, and do something about it. As I said, it's a wonderful experience. I don't know if the new president continued it. It was surveys were done on each campus. Feedback came to each of us that was very revealing about the climate on campus.
And if I may, we have
my time is up.
Two minutes, but if you can bring to one sentence to close.
And I would encourage you to support this because I think it's good to reestablish the values that these campuses are for inclusion and for serving all well, and that the people we send out are going to come out better educated to live in a diverse society.
Thank you. I'll turn it back to Chairman Medina.
Other witnesses in support.
Justin Selnick on behalf of the California Community Colleges Office of the Chancellor, and we don't have an official position on the bill right now, but we're supportive of the concept and we'll keep working with the author as it moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Alex Graves with the California State University. We currently have a support if amended position. We appreciate the work of Dr. Weber as chair of the Select Committee and her ongoing work in that area and on this issue in particular, and we look forward to additional conversations with her staff moving forward.
Other witnesses?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Megan Brightwell, on behalf of the California Federation of Teachers, echo Ms. Huffman's eloquent statements. Pleased to be in support.
Any witnesses in opposition? Questions from the committee? Mr. Levine.
Yeah, well, thank you, Ms. Weber and Ms. Huffman, for your testimony. Ms. Weber for the bill. Totally support it. It's really important that we work harder on this. There's one thing about really intolerant people going to college and doing really bad things, but there's a sense to me, no matter what the student group that's feeling this intolerance, that there's organized intolerance on our college campuses. And I think that there is a clear line between free speech and hate speech. There's the sharing of ideas that challenges who we are, and then there's intimidation and making people feel like they're not safe on campus. And I think that your work is really important to make sure that that's clear for everyone. Thank you. And I move the bill.
Any other comments or questions? There's a first by Mr. Levine. Do I? Second. Second by Mr. Lender. Ms. Weber, would you like to close?
Yes, I want to thank those of you who came today to testify, and Ms. Huffman for her lifetime work in the area of civil rights. You know, one of the things that happened during the hearings is that not only did we learn oftentimes what folks were not doing very well, but we also learned what a lot of folks were doing extremely well. And some campuses that had put some time and energy and resources in programs that really created a very positive campus and climate and environment. And it was important as we did this travel and this work that we shared that information with others. This committee, Select Committee, has been reauthorized again for this year, mainly because really civil rights and the issue of good practices and inclusion is a life work. And one of the things we learned very clearly, as I often say, that the issue of equality and justice and equal opportunity and access is like a rare flower in a society, and it requires constant attention and nurturing and care. But hatred is a weed, and it grows best in neglect. And when we think we've accomplished it all and we shut down our operations, it's when it begins to grow again. And so this would at least keep it on the mind of our institutions that they have a responsibility to not just be a thermometer that measures the climate of campuses, but be a thermostat to determine the campus climate itself. And so we're optimistic that this would at least be one of the many recommendations that came forward that will keep our institutions making sure that in their reporting every other year, they have to talk about campus climate, the good things they're doing, the challenges that are there, and hopefully the kinds of things that we will be proud of as we look at our institutions. I respectfully ask for an aye vote for AB 340.
Thank you, Ms. Weber. Moved by Mr. Levine, second by Mr. Lender. The motion before us is due pass to the Appropriations Committee. Madam Secretary.
Medina?
Aye.
Medina, aye. Baker? Baker, no. Bloom? Chavez? Harper? Harper, no. Irwin? Irwin, aye. Jones Sawyer? Levine? Levine, aye. Linder? Linder, aye. Lowe? Santiago? Santiago, aye. Weber?
Aye.
Weber, aye. Williams?
6-2, it's on call.
Thank you.
I'm going to go to the consent calendar. Moved by Mr. Levine, second by Mr. Harper. Oh, I'm sorry.
Ms. Baker.
Ms. Baker. Ms. Baker. I'm sorry. Ms. Baker. Madam Secretary.
Medina?
Aye.
Medina, aye. Baker? Baker, aye. Bloom? Chavez? Harper? Harper, aye. Irwin? Irwin, aye. Jones Sawyer? Levine? Levine, aye. Linder? Linder, aye. Lowe? Santiago? Santiago, aye. Weber? Weber, aye. Williams?
8-0, the consent calendar passes. We'll leave it open for absent members to add on. And I will pass the gavel to Ms. Baker.
This is file item 14, AB 1370.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. I'm pleased to present AB 1370. UC has continually argued that admitting non-resident students has allowed the system to enroll about 7,500 California students from which the state has not provided funding. However, UC allows tuition revenues generated by non-resident students to be kept at the campuses in which the student enrolls. According to UC's records, the majority of unfunded students are attending campuses with very low non-resident enrollment. In fact, in 2013, UCLA, with 19.2 non-residents, was only serving 191 California residents for which it was not funded. UC Berkeley, with 21.2% non-residents, was serving fewer than 332 California students that was funded to serve, serving 332 fewer California students than it was funded to serve. UC Riverside, on the other hand, served 1,871 unfunded Californian students, but enrolled only 448 non-resident UC campuses, and enrolled the highest percentage of Black and Latino undergraduates. Black and Latino undergraduates are being shortchanged because they are also enrolling fewer non-residents. UC recently indicated that for the 2015-16 academic year, it will be capping the number of in-state enrollments at current levels, pending the outcome of budget negotiations. However, with the exception of UCLA and Berkeley, UC will continue to enroll non-resident students during this time. This means that UC qualified California students will be waitlisted and potentially turned away, while non-resident students are provided access to the system. With that said, AB 1370 will stop UC from displacing California students and will update how the UC is addressing unequal funding of campuses in regards to the distribution of non-resident tuition. For these reasons, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support? 2 minutes, please.
I'll be shorter than that, promise. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee, Megan Brightwell on behalf of the California Federation of Teachers. We think this measure will increase the access for California students to attend colleges here in California, and we are pleased to be in support.
That was short. Additional witnesses in support? Anyone in opposition? Please come forward. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. 2 minutes, please.
Hi, Nicole Munoz Murillo with the California State University. We don't have a position on the bill, so we're a tweener. But first, I just want to say thank you to the author for your leadership on trying to restore funding for higher education, specifically the CSU. I'd be remiss not to say that. And while non-resident tuition revenue is not large at the CSU, we do have many non-resident students who do enrich our campuses in a variety of ways. And we recognize the author's concern and his intent with this bill, and we look forward to working with you on some technical issues that we see as we all try to strive to do our best for California students. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members, Nadia Leal Carrillo with the University of California, and we have a concern position. Our concern is specific to the absence of state funding or additional funding for the university. We're concerned that the provisions in the bill could have the unintended consequence of hampering our ability to continue to support California students. And so we know, and as it was noted in the committee analysis, that decisions and specific to enrollment of non-residents and residents are ongoing. It's part of ongoing discussions in the budget process. And so we are committed and want to just indicate that we continue to be committed to enrolling all eligible California residents and also exploring all options available to ensure that the university continues to do so. We'd like to continue to work with the author as the bill moves forward, and specifically just to ensure that any decisions and expectations that are set by the state in terms of funding for the university and enrollment are reflected in the bill as it moves forward. And we do want to thank you for your leadership and your efforts in helping us in this endeavor. So with that, just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Additional comments in opposition? Seeing none, I turn it back to our colleagues. Any comments or questions from colleagues? The committee. Mr. Chairman, would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. This is a due pass to appropriations. Oh, that's right. We need a motion and a second. And we have those. Due pass. Please call the roll.
Medina.
Aye.
Medina, aye. Baker.
Aye.
Baker, aye. Bloom. Chavez. Harper. Harper, aye. Irwin. Jones Sawyer. Levine. Levine, aye. Linder. Linder, aye. Lowe. Santiago. Santiago, aye. Weber. Weber, aye. Williams.
7-0. Passes out. All right. Thank you. Congratulations.